This time, can everybody rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, at this time, may we have a roll call?
Chair Wrench.
Present.
Vice Chair Malecki. Here. Myself, Susan Lance. Alderperson Day.
Here.
Commissioner Remington.
I'm here.
Commissioner Stanley.
Here.
Commissioner Kozler.
Here.
Non-voting member Leah Voss.
Here.
Non-voting member Michelle Rante. Excused. And Kevin Schlater.
Here.
Principal Planner Marion X.
Here.
Dale Borchert.
Here.
And City Engineer is absent.
Also present, we have the Health Department Director, Lee Warren Gottlieb, and Ellen Henry.
Lee Warren.
Sorry, Lauren.
Lee Warren.
No, just more.
Lauren Gottlieb. I'll make sure it's spelled right.
Okay. And who is the second one?
Ellen Henry.
Thank you.
Fantastic. At this time, we would like to open the floor to citizen comments. Are there any citizens who'd like to make a comment? Fantastic. We'll close the citizen comment period. We'll move to the approval of minutes from the meeting on April 8th.
I'll move to approve.
So we have a second.
Second.
Awesome. All in favor?
Okay.
Anybody opposed? You guys have it? Thank you. We will skip around. I can't focus on anything. So we'll move to letter 5. We have some faces in the crowd here. The first one, we'll go with the request by the Baird Public Finance team. Looks like they're looking to reserve 4 pickleball courts at Pleasant View Park on Thursday, June 6th from 4 to 8 for a private party. Do we have anybody here from Baird? Okay.
This is, so they contacted me about this event. So it's a corporate event that they are planning to hold for their employees, a private event. And they wanted to make sure that they had access to the pickleball courts. So they'd let them do this under representative, but not always. So it's up to the commission what you'd like to do, but this is an example of the type of reservation you elected to continue to possibly allow. With the single event.
I would vote.
Anybody else have any thoughts?
Is that a motion?
I didn't think we
That's a motion, yes. I'm making a motion to approve. It's a one-time event.
We were looking at approving or allowing one-off special events. That wouldn't monopolize the courts at all.
And this is affiliated with a rental of the pavilion.
Correct. So Thursday, 6th. They would have to start after the youth ball. Nope, that's Friday. Never mind.
It's Friday.
Time is free.
It is open, you're saying? I can't read the.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to read. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Monday is the start.
So for these one-offs, would there be someone from the commission attending or just?
No, so the decision was taken by the commission. We had received numerous requests for football league and other group reservations of these facilities. The commission opted not to continue to entertain those until we have a proper reservation system. But if it's affiliated with a reservation of another park facility, then that's something up to the commission. commission still. So, for example, also like get requests for other special uses of parks.
Okay.
Similar. So. Do you have a motion?
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? I would say no, but the ayes have it.
Maybe we should record your vote.
But my no
I
would be
will.
for the fact that they didn't have representation to come talk about it. So the ayes have it, so it shall pass. We'll jump to letter C, Health Department programming updates. Ladies, you have the floor.
I feel like we'll stand, but we'll try to be off to the side so you can kind of see. But we wanted to come here tonight because the health department's been working on a lot of different projects that involve parks, and you guys are the main group that has to do with primary things that we're going to talk about. We wanted at least to get the ideas out in front of you to hear what's going on. So I'm Lauren. I'm the director of the department here with Ellen, our public health specialist. So we both worked on the community health assessment that took place a couple of years ago. And we'll just kind of roll out some of our findings from there and then the path forward. Marian, if you can hop to the next slide. So with our community health assessment, now 3 years ago, it occurred. What that encompassed, I'll give you a brief overview, was a community survey out to a random sample of residents. So a variety of thousands of people received that. We had key informant interviews, focus groups, all to gather a robust sample of health-related information. And Marian, can you up to the next slide, actually, as well? And one of the things that we found on that survey is that parks and trails were identified as one of the greatest resources to health in the community. So individuals felt that improving and maintaining their health, parks and trails were critical, but a lot of people didn't use them. So then we self-reported. So they said, we really value it, but we don't really use it. So the health department started to dig in with our community coalition to figure out why and what are we going to do about it. And it led us a variety of ways, or a variety of directions. So one of the ways it led us was to have a meeting with the Ability Center. So we wanted to talk about what makes parks accessible, how are we doing here in Franklin. We obviously have the asset of Kayla's Playground, but also wanted to look at every park. And instead of doing like a new park and say, okay, well now this one also is accessible, we wanted to see if we could do some kind of surveying to see what accessible features we had at each park and really where we could go, if anywhere we needed to improve. So there wasn't one tool that organization had recommended, but instead we were looking at what tools already exist and then how can we build upon that, figure out what our landscape in Franklin was. We ended up using AARP's walk audit tool, and one of our student interns took this as their primary project. So they were looking at the different parks in Franklin, having a variety of people take the survey across all generations so that we could get a lens from different points of view, and started doing samples. We're aiming to figure out, I think the key takeaways is, are there main parks that we could focus on? What are our findings? And then what are we going to do about it? And that's where we are right now. So we're still gathering samples. We only have around a dozen right now. So it's been out to like Franklin Senior Dining, out at City Hall, out on social media, out on the health department counter, word of mouth. But a lot of people aren't taking it to fill out. But we have another intern who's starting this month, so that'll be their mission as well, is to sample some of these parks. So that pretty much just sums up what I already had mentioned, but our MPH student from MCW is using that as her capstone project this summer, and then we also have a UW lacrosse student intern starting. She's done a project similar, not the same, but with park accessibility and mobility. So wanted to talk to you about that mostly because if you see that floating out in the community, that's what that is. So if any questions come up or you're passionate about being a part of it, we have a community health partner network that meets quarterly on initiatives such as this. And I think that's a good Parks Passport if those are the next slides. Yeah. But we can answer all the questions at the end too. But another thing we're working on is a Parks Passport. So I'll let Ellen chat about that.
So like Lauren mentioned, we're in the kind of middle stages of our community health improvement plan. One of our top priority areas in our health improvement plan is increasing physical activity, and that's multi-generational physical activity as well. So our Franklin Health Collaborative, which Marion has attended in the past, it's a group of about 40 or so community members that focus on health in the community. We all met and we kind of brainstormed different activities they would like to bring to the community to address physical activity. They learned that some people highly value the parks. They wanted to encourage physical activity in the parks throughout the summer. We had a UW Lacrosse Community Health Perspective make playground passport that you're looking at today. So this was actually, I think, developed back at our meeting in January of this year. Someone had seen this passport project kind of piloted in Waukesha. So it really just encourages families and kids all the way through their grandparents to get out into the community and visit their parks. Find out what their parks have to offer and answer a few little trivia questions about the parks just to make sure that people actually are attending the parks. Our goal is to have anyone that completes this passport visit at least 7 out of the 10 parks or playgrounds. And then anyone that turns in this passport would then be entered in a raffle drawing. And we're going to get some raffle baskets donated by a few of our community partners that are in the Franklin Health Collaborative. So they have offered to donate a basket. And then I believe the Franklin YMCA and possibly Mosh. They're all representative people and have helped plan this project. Timeline's a little flexible. We're aiming to hopefully get it out either by our bike rodeo on June 1st or June 21st for Militia Franklin's outdoor movie night. A lot of kids like that. We talked to Shelly, who is kind of one of the members of helping plan this passport, and she recommended that we perhaps print the developed map of the Franklin Parks on the back of the passport, so people are able to look at the map and then answer the question. Yep, that's just another little look. We have a little area for sponsorship. We love the Parks Commission on the project as well too. We'd be more than happy to give you guys some updates once the project is rolled out and get some passports back at the end of August.
And last thing that we're updating you on today, if you could advance the slide, is an opportunity that we've been working on with the Wisconsin Campus Collaborative. So in partnership with this group that is across Wisconsin, people like-minded, focusing on the American Lung Association as well as Volition Franklin Youth. We've been exploring promoting to not smoke near playgrounds. So the idea that young lungs are at play when you're at a playground and secondhand smoke away from youth who are currently engaging in physical activity at those playgrounds. So we did write for a mini grant, trying to figure out exactly how this will roll out, but the idea that we had originally proposed was permanent signage that the grant could pay for updated park rules if this ended up being something that was adopted by the Parks Commission, that one of our interns is working on and they can get an update to as the summer progresses. Or alternatively, an option of creating non-permanent yard signs that could be available for checkout when they would rent a pavilion or utilizing the space, so that if they're hosting get-together or birthday party, they could stake that in if they don't want people smoking at the playground when their kids are utilizing it. So it would encourage no smoking or tobacco products within 25 feet of a city playground. And then, like I said, there, yard signs or permanent signage. That is yet to be determined, but still in the developmental stages, but it seemed essential to start the conversation coming this way as well. All right, and next slide is for you. So we're continuing work on this. Our park audits, like we mentioned, are happening over the next month. We're trying to bring that to a close fairly soon because we want to move forward with the data analysis for it. But our intern starts next week. So then they'll be hitting the ground running to try to get a few more of those done, more volunteers. Our NCW student, who's a different students working on, there's 2 students currently, so it's a little bit confusing, but one of them is wrapping up their capstone. So hopefully we'll have like a good report back to you by the end of both of their projects. The Park Passport, live through summer of 2024, like Ellen mentioned, hoping to collect those back at National Night Out. So just continuously like promoting community connection, togetherness, these family-friendly activities, and then Young Lungs at Play being that ongoing effort, and Volition Franklin look into that. So those are a group of youth who are passionate about policy and trying to make a change locally. So mainly here for an update, but also welcome questions and any kind of collaboration that you guys are looking to have. We have that Franklin Health Collaborative. We're always looking for volunteers in the health department, and we're always just an email or call away. Feel free.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions?
I think this passport idea is a great idea. I saw it in Waukesha.
One thing I did forget to mention about the passport is that Shelley connected us with students at Franklin High School, and they're going to work to make a sticker each year we do it if it's successful.
Okay.
Then anyone that completes a passport, Franklin Parks,
That's cool.
made by high school.
Awesome.
Would you be open to like putting these in the newsletters for schools, like a link for families to click and so
Yeah.
they can see it?
Definitely.
Yeah. So if you send me that, we'll have Chad Kafka put that out there.
I'd say within the next 2 weeks is the aim of having it ready to go.
Excellent. Yes, sir.
I was just going to say to Lauren and Ellen here, if you guys need any help from our department,
I think a critical piece too will be as you continue to visit those signage rules and different pavilions. You know, right now it's a little bit varied throughout the city, so we've done a lot of auditing on different pavilions and park rules. Try to get a consistent message out there as you guys are solidifying that to also maybe think like, oh, is this something that we can include? And we're happy to bring more information and have our student and or health department staff present if that's something you guys would welcome
Sure.
to.
You guys thought about doing like QR codes?
I actually think that. Yeah. We haven't ventured into that yet, but that might be that.
For the internal, set that up. Excellent. Anybody have anything else? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We will we'll jump ahead since we're skipping every other one. We'll go to E. Request by resident Karen Rishaver, sorry if I butchered that, to discuss tennis and pickleball court availability and information on how decisions on city park facilities are made. Hello.
I thought there were only going to be 7, so I apologize if you need to share these. I see a lot on the agenda about pickleball, and I'm an advocate for tennis. Let's see. YouTube? Oh, okay. Thank you. Basically, my core request is for pickleball court that's just east of the Franklin department. I'm sorry, the Franklin Fire Department. I don't know if there's a name for that little park.
Vernon
Two-
Bard.
Pardon?
Vernon Bard.
Vernon Barg.
The one on Drexel? Like, right over
Just east of the fire department.
Right.
Vernon
Bard.
Vernon Bard. Okay. Sorry. Sorry, I keep saying east of the fire department. My request is there are 2 courts there, and for the one pickleball court to be converted back to tennis, and the other court kept as a tennis court. Right now, it's kind of a hybrid, so a lot of time pickleball users are on that court. And I think it's important to factor in looking at the balance of pickleball courts and tennis courts in our community is the numbers of people that play the sports. Now, obviously, I can't find numbers that speak to just the city of Franklin or even the state of Wisconsin. But, and it's on the sheet that I just handed out, the Association of Pickleball Pros reported 48.3 million Americans who have played pickleball at least once. So that's not necessarily regularly. And at the same time, the U.S. Tennis Association reported 23.8 million. So it's about 2 to 1, the ratio. In Franklin, and that's why I used the map, and Glenn was helpful and gave me some information because I didn't even know where all the courts were. The total usable courts, ones that have not been decommissioned or just in disrepair, include 14 pickleball, 5 tennis, and 1 hybrid, the one that I just talked about at Byrne. So that's almost a 3 to 1 ratio. And all the tennis courts are in outlier areas, meaning where we are right now, I kind of consider the core city of Franklin. We have the police department here, the library, the city hall. This is the core area, and the tennis courts are really outliers further out. So I feel like there's kind of like some partiality to the pickleball courts. My request to convert the pickleball court that I mentioned earlier back to tennis and keep the other one of those 2 courts as tennis will still only result in having 2 tennis courts in this central area versus 10 pickleball courts, because the 3 tennis courts back here by Lions Legend Park are being replaced with 10 pickleball courts. So we're losing 3 tennis and putting in 10 pickleball. So the balance is just getting further and further away. So my request, even though it doesn't come close to getting a little bit closer, balanced, more in line with the number of people that play pickleball versus tennis, at least it would be a step in the right direction. The thing is, I feel badly that I didn't realize this earlier until I drove and saw that the courts are being revamped. And so I was wondering about how this kind of a decision is made. Apparently, I guess it's a lot of the representatives on the various boards and commissions. But I was thinking that it would be helpful to have, when there's an issue like this, where I think there are a lot of people that play at least one of these sports, if not both, if there could be something like in the Franklin newsletter. I do tend to look at that, and even a link, maybe with a QR code, to SurveyMonkey for just a very simple, brief survey to allow Franklin residents to give input so that you get broader input from the city. I feel like this was a topic that wasn't very well known, and so pickleball players, that's kind of a newer sport, and they're really enthusiastic, and I heard you've gotten voluminous requests, and so I feel like maybe if there had been broader information about this topic, more of the tennis people would have spoken up. So I just feel badly that I'm kind of coming late to the game, but that's why my only request really at this time is to look at those 2 courts and try to preserve something in this central area versus making tennis people have to go further out. And so I'm curious what steps are needed to consider something like that getting approved.
Sure. Well, I guess a couple things. Thank you for this. The first thing is the pickleball people, crowd is loud, and they show up at every meeting. There's always at least one individual here asking for more. We could probably build 50 courts and still have people asking for more. I think the demand is it's at a point where it can't be met by the city of Franklin for the amount of courts and everything. Mary, Kevin can correct me if I'm wrong, but the new courts, Lions Legend, I don't know if that's 1 or 7 or whichever park that is because they're all named the same, where there's the 10 pickleball courts that are being constructed. The Vernon Barg courts, I believe, were going to be left as dual marked what's out there, but the goal was to try to have all pickleball through the rec department on the newer courts and leave the other ones open so people can play tennis or try to accommodate the need for everybody. And try to make everybody happy in the same pool, if that makes sense.
So you're saying that the two over at Vernon Park would be left as hybrid?
Yes.
Because right now, one of them is completely pickleball.
Yeah, I believe we had talked
Those are
about it was,
permanent nets there.
yeah, it was going to be restriped for hybrid. I believe that was where we're at, but I could be, if I'm wrong, you guys correct me.
My understanding was Vernon Bard was going to stay as,
Okay,
but for now.
sure.
But our goal is to redo all the courts in time, and whatever
Yeah.
board here decides at that time, turn them into, keep them, or that would be. But for temporarily, it would stay as.
Okay. Excellent. Yes, sir.
Yeah, just a note that it's not easy just to paint it back to tennis because there's posts.
Right.
There's some work that needs to be
There is
done.
work, yeah, this is, yeah.
Resurface what's kind of made. It was easier to convert it to pickleball because
Right.
we added posts.
Yeah.
But going back to tennis, you got to remove posts, fix the asphalt. So that's a little more of a.
I will say that you are the first person in the last 6 years who has stepped forward with any kind of request for tennis. So it's a silent majority. But I definitely think that we have most of the facilities that we currently have, we need work done on them, whether it's reconditioning of the asphalt or replacement, repair. So this is definitely something that we can consider moving forward.
Yeah, I think Glenn pointed out to me, is Glenn here?
No, he's
Oh, okay. On South First Street, just a little bit south of Hughes, there are some courts that, I think there used to be like 2 tennis courts there, and now it's like practically nothing, and he said they were kind of looking into that, he didn't know what might happen with those. In terms of, yeah, I feel badly that I'm the only person in 6 years, but on the other hand, you know, you're playing tennis and you don't think about, oh, things are going to change. The pickleball people, yeah, they're developing their leagues and they're all speaking up, but would it be appropriate to consider that when people come forth, when a group of people, which doesn't necessarily represent the majority, if then the issue were put out like a simple survey monkeys thing, like I said, you could have a QR code in your newsletter, have just a few simple questions so it's real easy people to respond, and then this commission and other committees could do the same thing, could have a better sense of the Franklin community overall in terms of the sentiment versus basing on just comes to the meetings. Like, I didn't even know you guys had meetings. I'm sorry to be so illiterate that, you know, this is what goes on. I've never had City Hall except I vote. So I just feel like more citizens probably are not aware of the process and what's going on to even come here to bring this up. So is that something you guys could consider for the future on topics, not just tennis and pickleball, but a mechanism that's not, I'm not wanting to add a lot of administrative burden to this team or the department, but just a simple way to get broader input from the community so that, you know, it is a fairer representation of what the community wants.
Absolutely. I know we did reach out to Alderman Barber to see all people to talk about what we wanted to do back working with courts. So I think that's something that we're trying to look out and reach out, try to get more feedback and input. So it isn't just you come to the meetings here, but no, definitely I think it's something that when we get to the point where we're looking resurface or certain courts, that we can have the alderman put it in the newsletter to try to get information that way. I think that's what we talked about.
I have a couple comments. And in terms of park design, so there is, for newer parks, we have a design process that happens in this commission. I'm the planner that's responsible for kind of administering the commission, and there's what's called the Comprehensive Outdoor Recreation Plan, which is a plan for all of the facilities in all of Franklin parks. That document is due for an update. We're hoping to start working on that next year, and it requires public input, so there will be public notices about it and public meetings. But when it comes to the individual parks, those decisions are typically made by this commission, unless Common Council needs to weigh in for some reason. I will also say she's not the only tennis player that has commented on this issue. She is the only one who's asked to be on this agenda. So you're not alone.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
I feel better.
And then the question about public input is a good one because we don't have a practice of that as part of planning a lot of these facilities, apart from when you're doing the policy piece of it or the individual site plans. We get feedback from people, but they're typically people that are watching agendas. And so I think that's an important thing to have a discussion about. What it would look like. The city doesn't have like a really good survey tool that it's using currently, but we do have some of those tools. We've done that for other design projects related to trails. So,
Well, you have my contact information. And I will just say, my husband and I have been in marketing, been familiar with market research, that if you get to the point where you say, yeah, let's put together something that not only for just this topic, but that you guys could use for a lot of things, feel free to reach out to us to offer guidance on how could you have something very simple, very replicable, get broader input, and not have to rely on people coming in the meeting.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. We appreciate it.
So basically, right now, the two courts over by Byrne, I keep calling it Vernon Bar, Vernon Bar, I'll get that name right, are going to stay as one, kind of a hybrid, and the other is permanently, right now, racquetball. And,
Pickleball.
I mean, pickleball. Yeah, now let's throw another sport in. But it wouldn't be, now, is there a time in the future when that could be revisited? Because like you pointed out, there's a cost if we were to go down the path to put that back to tennis. What would be the process to revisit that second court at Vernon?
I think we'd have to clarify this probably with Glenn. But what we did have a brief discussion, I think it was last year, about a schedule for every court to have striped, surfaced, or done. There was money set aside in the budget every year to try to pluck away at some of them. So I think that we can put this on the agenda for the next time, just run this by Glenn and kind of get a refresher on where we're at. Start the processing.
And the refresher to say next.
Yeah, we can put it on the agenda for next month to get some follow from Glenn to see kind of where we're at with the budget, what's left in the funding for asphalt. Looking to see where we're at for next year as well.
Okay, then that meeting. Just to keep up to date.
No, that's great.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate your time. Go tennis. I'll just say, I'm just curious, how many people in this room play pickleball?
Well, I play pickleball and tennis.
Oh, you play both?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for your time.
No problem. Thank you. Take care.
You too.
I guess we'll start at the bottom here. Southeastern Wisconsin Association of Pickleball. Use of Pleasant View Park by their group for leagues without authorization.
What letter is that?
That would be F.
Yep. So this item, Commissioner Loomis requested this to be added, Land. I am going to mess up everyone's name today. It's fine. Commissioner Lance requested that this item be placed on an agenda. We had previously been notified about it by a resident. She had some questions, so this person, whoever is organizing it, has been circulating materials in the community for a while. They don't have authorization. Someone did contact me about an additional reservation at Pleasant View, but it was after this conversation about not allowing additional organized groups, and also it was after the time period. So I don't know who it is and have not done an investigation on this, but it's not clear what action could be taken. So if there's a direction or
I just and Kristen contacted me about it, and I know who that person is. It's just that we had turned down some folks and said no, and this is basically the same thing. It's more restrictive than what one of them had asked for. So I didn't know. I mean, it didn't come through committee, and it's, it's because we don't have a reservation system. And I don't know if you've gotten complaints from people that they can't get on the courts or not during these times.
We haven't yet, but it would not surprise me. The times that I've seen published overlap with
The
other
high school,
reservations. Yeah.
right? Because I sent you only the one, but it's morning and evening that they're.
Somebody called me to the office asking about it.
Oh.
So I went online and Googled this thing, and it's on Facebook as well. Charge like a donation. Guy asked for it to cover balls and extra paddles. And I think I told you, and I was like, okay. I didn't know about it either. I think they're just showing up and marketing it.
So to be clear, they're not asking us for permission.
No,
We
they're
just
doing
know
it.
about it now, so we're talking about it at
Yeah.
this meeting.
Right, and
Okay.
I think why it was kind of upsetting to someone because they had been asked to reserve and we turned them down.
Yeah, that's gonna be my follow-up. Have they ever come here to ask?
No.
They
So, and that's why, what do? Do you
Okay.
just let it go? Or if we had a reservation system, you could say you have to, especially for that many, it's
Well, we do have a
almost.
reservation policy. So this person
Yeah, I don't know.
may have asked to do this and been told no, or they didn't ask at all. But there is a policy, guys. So,
But it never was put into place. I didn't think. I thought we were waiting for the reservations. So
there isn't a
to put it-
system yet. The system is you guys saying yes, the rec department has the authority to be there.
Oh,
You know what I mean? So people that don't have your permission, it's first come, first serve.
Is there a rule in the city where exchange money on parking without
It is
the
not.
city getting a cut?
It's not.
Okay. The
Well, the
easiest.
city ordinance says you can't sell any at a park, but it doesn't say you can't accept donations or pass money.
Yeah. Like
It's
you can't
gray
have a food
area
truck
for
or-
the.
Sure.
Yeah.
I know if you tell them no, you're going to have some policy to affect that. Because honestly, they're all Franklin.
Yeah.
Majority.
Right.
Yeah, it's first come, first serve. The fact that they're an organized group.
and I just didn't know.
They do say that on the website too, that it's following the policy of usage for the courts. And so that's really the only thing we could do is post what our policy is for usage of the courts, limited to, 1 hour per group, or so you should rotate out, or do you put paddles up like you do for, playing pool at a bar, right? You stack your quarters up and that means I'm next. I don't know if we could come up with some kind of system like that, but that's months down the line because we haven't even entertained that thought, right? So there is a membership fee for their organization and then a suggested donation.
But you don't have to be a member to play.
Right, so none of it constitutes selling as suggestion.
Have we posted the schedule at any of the parks? I think we did that last year. Maybe at Pleasant.
The schedule?
Yeah, the schedule.
Yeah, I updated it for what we approved, and I got it posted at every.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Major suggestion I would make, posting schedule. But this commission, I mean, you determine the rules for the parks. Fact. You wanted to propose a rule about length of time. You have also on your agenda a discussion about just overall park rules as the health department's pointed out, and there's different rules for different parks, and probably not probably. We could work consolidate.
I guess if you're not receiving complaints about not being able to get on those courts. And, hey, you know, if there were complaints, then I think that something enforced.
It's interesting because it's being promoted outside of Franklin too. I know we have the rec department, right? Scheduling time, but then this is going to Bayview and southeastern Wisconsin. So, you know, park utilization, we had public comment 1 month about worrying about, you know, people all coming to our parks, right, and ruining them. But I mean, this could potentially bring in other community, you know, to be a part of our community too. And it alleviates us from having to schedule pickleball courts if somebody else is running it. The unfortunate part is we lose out on some revenue opportunities.
We don't have any more room anyway.
Yeah, we don't have the volunteer. We don't have the volunteers, right?
Oh, we do. It's just
Well, to be
courts. No.
like more, like 10. They want them 10 to 1 Monday through Friday for their pickleball organized play is what they're calling it.
Organized open play.
Yeah.
And it's limited to 22 players that can play. But maybe next year morning, there could be a morning.
Build it.
Okay, I'm okay.
Yeah, so maybe it was just for awareness that that's happening, and they're definitely got the gray areas covered. My recommendation is just that we should have a policy for fair usage, a suggestion for fair usage at the courts, for any of the courts, so that you can't get one group monopolizing it. But I don't know what that is. I haven't really thought about it until.
I ask kind of a dumb question. I know that the guy that uses the morning courts at Line Legend, his group, is that kind of the same thing without the donation?
He doesn't. No, people bring. As far as I know, people bring their own balls. No, I don't think there's. He used to once a year. He'd say he would collect some money for balls. It wasn't like this. Looks like almost every time there's stuff. Okay,
Same kind of thing. They meet all together for a couple hours.
but there's no limit on it. So anybody can come. These are limited to your level of play as well.
Yeah, I wonder how they monitor that.
I don't know.
List of people that you're only allowed to come in.
Yeah.
Does that get somebody else wants to?
Not sure. One of the criteria that you have those kind of bids are working was
Non-discrimination based off of age, sex, and pickleball rating. Is that going to be next?
Yes, sir.
Just about the comment about complaints, there definitely is people out there who are not happy they can't get
On those courts?
on any courts.
Oh.
Or they feel like they're all being taken up. So there's definitely people out there wanting to play but they can't. So it's
I don't know if
everybody
there
wants to
could
play
be a
and-
time if you can track the time, the days, and see, but
I think it's getting to the point where we just have to hire a staff member and have them stand at each pickleball court and
There
charge
you go.
admission like a golf course.
I think
I honestly think that's what it's coming to, because if people can't play nice, and
right.
if people can't respect the fact that other people want to use the court,
Yeah,
it's not all about me all the time.
and I know that person isn't from the city.
Sure,
But
that doesn't matter.
yeah, I
It's-
guess it
it's-
doesn't.
Pickleball courts are anywhere, you can go play wherever your heart desires, but
If we had a reservation system, the city could just be making money on this.
yeah. Maybe it's $20 for every hour to come play. Go from there. But,
Timed batting.
yeah, exactly.
Or
That's
you
what
There
get
you
get.
go.
access
The door's
code
been
and
locked.
get in and you have to be out, or, you know, I mean.
floor turns to lava.
I think that we might have to hire a seasonal or a limited term employee to monitor all the pickleball action in courts and take payments. Go from
Oh, that's a
Where are we with the reservation software?
Do you want to jump to that now?
Sure, why not?
what is it? Which one?
That'd be number 4, letter B.
Yep. So the current status of that project is that there were a number of groups that we met with last year. I have solicited new quotes from all of them. So I'm waiting to get some of that information back, and we'll probably have to sit down and go back through some of their options and choices that they have. But it was RecTrack was Civic Plus and others. So we will have a baseline for what it costs put forward for the 2025 budget. Met with all relevant people except finance. So but it's in process. So ideally, we'll identify a piece of software and get that funded alongside the personnel, either to help bring in or dedicate time specifically to the reservations process. So both of those are kind of moving in tandem, but officially ask for quotes, and I that process will also be shown to you. So once I have all of them filed, they'll come. So there's obviously differences in terms of what the
Awesome, thank you. While we're at it, we'll jump to number 2 there for the park rules.
I do not have an update on this. I apologize that I missed your last meeting. I don't know if there was discussion there that needed to be followed up on.
I guess we'll jump back to, we'll go to letter B, letter B, the Aurora Trail proposal for Glenmorrow Park.
Okay.
Glenmorrow Park.
Oh my gosh. We have to be not working here for 5 years before we can. Okay, so you do like it?
Yeah.
I think we should name it after Tony.
It explains where it is.
True.
That's true.
It's water tower.
That's true.
Okay, so
It's not like Fern Barn where nobody knows the name.
We could call it Lions Legends 3.
let's do that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's all we need.
There will be an official naming process, and you can put your votes down for whatever you think. So you guys are familiar with this proposed site plan for the Water Tower Park, as it's currently known. And I didn't participate in this meeting, so I'm just going to give you the information that Glenn shared with me that I can remember. But so this was the proposed trail routing that you guys recommended with this possible connection here. So this is an apartment complex or a condo complex. And then this corner here actually touches Aurora, the facility across the street on Loomis, their property. So Glenn met with them 2 weeks ago now, and did a walk back there and had a conversation about if they were amenable to this concept, and if it would be worth exploring potentially reviving there has previously been a trail at this location. Sounds like it went well, and so this was kind of a concept map that Glenn produced with all of the different lots that would potentially come into play. So you've got the condominiums, Water Tower Park. This is private property that will not want the trail on the property. Private property as well. There is actually a trail, I believe, like a trailhead here at the church. Whether it's currently in service or not is another question. But you see that there's kind of an opportunity to have this loop here, potentially. I would have some questions about installation of pedestrian facilities to cross Loomis. But that's definitely something that could be a conversation about when we're doing a planning process. And so this is just a picture he shared of the existing boardwalk, existing, maybe a relative term. But like I said, there was a trail back there. They were able to do kind of a walk through a lot of the marshland. We don't know anything about the condition of those natural resource features at this time, but like this is a wetland, so a boardwalk would probably be an appropriate approach to.
And if we did this, would the city be covering the cost? Or
I mean, I think that's a discussion for a future meeting.
Sure.
You know, trails generally are eligible for impact fees. How that gets assessed on private property is a whole thing.
Well, it really was open to the public in the past.
It was?
It was Aurora.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And the church one is kind of, this goes in a little bit and it's kind of a religious thing.
Oh, okay. I know there's like a, I have it back there, but. Okay.
Kind of a place to go.
Meditate.
Yeah.
trails?
Currently, yeah.
Something accessible for features.
I don't know enough about the site yet.
Sure.
I know that the trail design here, I don't remember if it was proposed to be located. Yeah, I don't know. So, that is a good question.
What was the question?
Would they be have accessible? I thought for some of these paths, talk about wider, that there was access for vehicles.
Mm-hmm. That's the case with the paths at Pleasant View area, right? So people can get across the river. In this location, I don't know that it would. You guys want to revisit this at your next meeting when
Yeah, we could add it, and then we throw away too much. On the next. Awesome. We'll stick with, we'll finish off a new business. We'll hit up letter D, Kayla's Playground Saputo Legacy donation.
I think that's going to be me for the majority of it, and then I'll let Dale fill in any technical pieces that I might miss. So this is something that myself and Glenn and Shelley and Dale have been working on for quite some time. So Saputo is, for those of you who don't know, is a cheese manufacturer. They're new to Franklin. They're over on 27th Street, sort of near the hospital. And they came to us when they were in the building phase and talked to us about something that they have called the Legacy Fund. And what they like to do everywhere that they go and physically put a brick and mortar building is they like to give back to the community that they're in. So they were asking myself and the city administrator about projects or areas within the city that met kind of their goals and what the Legacy Fund kind of stood for. And the first thing that popped into my brain when we were having the conversation was the flooring at Kayla's, because it was something that was a long-standing issue that we never really had money in the budget to do, and is only getting worse over time. So we moved ahead
with that, got some quotes. Dale was able to get some quotes from a few vendors for the replacement of the flooring. And we were able to secure in the city's budget for this upcoming year the replacement of the flooring at Kayla's. So this legacy fund is up to $50,000 that Saputo would donate to the city to help with the costs for the new flooring at the playground. The application with Saputo is in its final stages. They're just working on the contract language, and then they'll send it over to us, and our city attorney will review it and go over anything that he does or doesn't like within it. We're planning to bring this to the council at the next common council meeting to talk about the acceptance of the award and moving forward with the bids, because there's a time crunch of when it's best to do the flooring at Kayla's. So we're hoping to do it in June. We're going to go with Blue Mills as the vendor who will be putting the flooring down for us. But the park would have to close for about 2 weeks for, take everything out, build up the flooring, put the new flooring down, put everything back in. Hopefully weather, temperature, rain, whatever will cooperate so that it's not closed for an indefinite period of time. We understand that, that's summer break for kids and they want to use the park. So, but part of the issues that we have seen citywide before with different surfaces that we've put down is if we rush it or if we do it too early, then it cracks and then we have bigger problems down the line. So we're trying to get the best possible weather so that the flooring lasts for the longest amount of time. So with all that being said, there are small strings attached to the money from Saputo. One of those is that they would like recognition for their donation. So in going back and forth, if I don't know how many of you have been to Kayla's recently, but the donation board is full. there's no more room to put anybody on it. So Shelly and I have been tossing ideas around. Dale's tossed some ideas around about kind of what we can do. I mean, I've walked around Kayla's. There's different companies have their names on benches. Different companies have their names on the tickets. There's some donations from civic organizations like ornamental art around the outside and those types of things. But the idea that Shelly had, and we wanted to run it by the commission as well as Marion from the perspective of signage with the city code, the thought was to maybe create a sustainability board. So this would be for donations of people who are looking to increase the longevity of Kayla's. So the first board that's full is basically the people that got the playground up and running and operational. And then this new board would be a sustainability board. And for people who donate money, like in this case for the flooring, maybe there's some upkeep for the park itself, maybe a way to recognize some of Kayla's crew that works there, from some of the people who've been there for years or put in more hours or whatnot. So just a way to recognize the people and businesses that are contributing to keeping the park operational. So that was sort of kind of where we landed, but wanted to get the thoughts of the commission about signage and maybe what you would like to see. Their only other caveat that I don't think is going to be a problem is they would like exclusivity in the cheese market. And I don't foresee any other cheese company coming in and wanting to put their name on Kayla's, but who knows. So for 10 years, they want exclusivity in the cheese market. So we've got that and we've got the signage. But other than that, everything else that's incorporated in the contract is just more like city kind of, dotting I's and crossing T's type of thing. So, like I said, we're here to kind of get your ideas on the signage piece and kind of your blessing that this is something that the commission is also supportive of it, accepting the donation to help offset some of the costs for the flooring.
What's the cost? 300.
Yeah, 208. Yeah. So the caveat is that we do have the money in the budget for this all on our own, but having the Saputo money that we have, money that we can give back to the general fund that will stay in kind of the budget here would be nice to have that to come back.
So, or a nice carrot to say, hey, for the budget for next year, we put 50 grand in here that we didn't spend. Hey, how about we have that data software, or another staff member just how budgets can run.
That's just what I was thinking.
So just kind of put that out there to the finance director and the city administrator when they're doing the budget that hey, we were under budget last year. How about we look at some other things that we might need? So I guess with that,
I think a board's a very good idea. What about that little newspaper that comes out? I don't know if they're doing a little ceremony or anything. You know that little newspaper?
Yeah. There will be, once everything's done, we'll do some sort of like formal recognition.
And then
kind
in
of
the
thing.
newsletter to acknowledge their donation too.
Just in terms of what the sign, so the city does have a sign code. It doesn't apply to parks. It would be to other like private property. So this commission has reviewed most of the signage in parks over time, but there's Kayla's is there. Etc. So the one requirement that we stickler about is the legal requirement that we have in terms of what the sign can say. So there's some exceptions that you would theoretically want some forward, but I don't think the owners can do that. So that's the only level of review that I would have. The commission would be the one. So if Shelley has a proposal for a sign, that would be the best.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what she was looking for, is to see if we're supportive of that particular idea, and then kind of let her creative juices flow and see what she can come up with,
and other people might. It just spurs other people to do things like that.
My one caveat, I would call it sustainability. Yeah. Yes.
And you're saying everything has to come out of there? Lauren?
I will defer to the expert on that.
Yeah, we gotta pull all the rubber out, and then we're gonna do that. Our department's gonna do that. So,
But you don't have to take the playground equipment out, do you?
no,
You just take
that's what I was talking
we're gonna make a
about.
couple. We're gonna make a couple of very minor changes that you're not even gonna notice. But we're gonna take the rubber out, most of that, and the director's gonna regrade if necessary.
I thought all the structure talking about. Okay.
And then the other piece that we're hopeful will make the flooring last a little bit longer is initially when the first flooring went down, you'll notice there's a lot of different colors in it, but those colors create seams. And every seam that there is a new opportunity for cracks and peeling and whatnot. So it's going to be colorful, but less colors, so there's less seams for the Wisconsin weather.
When this commission prioritized the spending, this had gotten moved up to the very top, and we had approved it already at 2,000, and now this company's coming in and they want to make a donation, and we're saying general fund money is going to go towards this, and they're going to put in 50,000 that goes to general funds earmarked for parks, because then that would be an additional 50,000 to the already 108 that we have from the city. Is that correct? Or does going back to the general fund meaning that 50 grand would be for expenditure anywhere as well as parks? I hear we have a need, right, for software. But we already moved this agenda item. We had talked about June being the month where we're going to close down the park in totality. I'm already getting messages from friends asking what the deal is for the summer, and I mean, it's great that they want to make that donation and get cheese exclusivity, which I've never heard of before, but that's Sargento's, you're out, right?
Yeah.
But does that just mean that fund's going back to the general fund for fair game?
Go for it.
We have a set amount, and then if Saputo comes through, which is wonderful,
Right.
What we're planning on doing, because as Dale knows, whatever's whatever's left over, we're hoping, and it's going to be in our council action, that we ask for those funds to be used to replace some play structures in parks, because we have quite a few that are well beyond their lifespan. We need to be replaced. And a good play structure is supposed to. This would help us get there. Hopefully, at least get one system up and running between other funds we with. That's what our hope is, because we just need to start replacing our.
And the creation of the additional board for the words, not sustainability, it's sustainers. That would come out of our budget.
It would come out of the what we had budgeted for the project that's in there, that 208,000, or because we budgeted, I think, 250 from the city side.
Total we had originally had was 300.
Yeah, so we have
that was
we have
including
some
the donation.
Yeah, some wiggle room in there that it would come out of that pot that was already set aside, not additional.
Was the original board for the original donors that created by the contractor who built Kayla's, or was that also something that the school made with their, their department, the high school?
The original was part of the original.
I'm not sure if the high school had, they have a router where they can engrave stuff, but I don't think they made that board. I think it was a company in Waukesha. I just want to mention something about the board. Right now, the donor board faces west, and I added that sign of the rules sign next to it that Shelley came up with. There's not really much room right there, so if we're going to add another board, we have to figure out how big it is and where it's going to go. Can't be mounted low because kids will wreck it. It's got to be up high enough. But there won't be a big cost in it because I'll install it, so that'll be free. We have some leftover plastic wood from when the playground was built. I'll put a couple more 4x4s in the ground and sign on there. It'll just be the cost of the. It's going to be the same type of material. It's like a laminate plastic, green plastic encapsulated by tan plastic, and when you router it out, the letters are green. That's their corner board. Do the same thing.
Excellent. To approve this?
It wouldn't hurt.
I'll motion to approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? You guys have it. We will then now jump back to the unfinished business. We'll do the letter D, Parks Marketing Materials. Donation policy, marketing materials, maps, pamphlets, etc.
I did go to that, the Franklin Tourism Commission meeting a second time, and they said, oh, they approved it and stuff, so yay, I knew that. But I just wanted to make sure that I showed them that I gave them credit for them printing it and stuff like that. And I think I texted Marion over there just to give me the approval, the blessing to take it to the printer. So do I have that? Yes, everybody, to take it? Yes? Okay, then I'll just take it tomorrow and we'll get it printed. It should be done next week.
So did they give you a check? How does that work?
I think the printer will give me a bill and I'll just give them the bill then. So the other question I had was with the map. How do I go about giving that to you guys? Put it into the city newsletter then, because we got paid for. How do we work on that?
Print it.
Yeah, so Lisa, the assistant city administrator, is the person who coordinates of it. At some point I had a chat with her about color versus non-color, and I think what I'll do is get out of your way and connect the two of you. There's funding now available. City administrator might want to get involved just so that but to let you do your thing. So,
So you're contacting her?
I'm contacting Lisa?
I'll email you guys together.
Yeah, okay. What issue is this gonna be in then?
The last deadline for the June issue is well past. It's over 6. It's almost usually lead time, so it would have to be whatever the next is, which is
Okay.
maybe probably not for a couple of months.
Okay.
But
All right. Because I think on the map I had to change the time. I had to leave all the time on there.
yeah, because we changed the hours.
Yeah, you changed it in the meanwhile, so I corrected it. So it's all done and ready to go. So, all right. I'll contact Lisa when you get it in there. That's kind of nice that the health department is kind of like they can use the map in their project.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
every feedback on it has been like great.
The other thing, when I was at the tourist thing, it was interesting. They had the marketer for the rock there because the tourist had given them money, so she did a report on it and stuff. And they're looking to do their website where they're promoting all the businesses, like the restaurants and the hotels that are here and stuff. So if you come to the Rock, then you can stay wherever and know where to eat and stuff like that. And so she saw what I did, and she asked if we can put the map and that information on their website and stuff. So I'm asking you, do you want to put it on their website?
The Rock's website?
Yeah, they're creating it's new. It's a Franklin thing.
Why
It's
not?
promoting Franklin, and that's what I kind of said. I would run it by you guys and see how to do that.
Because on a separate website, I have one that's like a tourism website. I mean, it's a public asset in a sense, so.
Right, so we can add whatever we want. Whatever.
It might already on the city website, so they could also link out to it.
Right.
Actually,
Did you update it with the new hours then? The rest.
Don't remember.
Yeah.
The only caution I would have for that is centralizing the information.
Yep.
Means that we have to do duplicate replication when there's changes made. So if we keep it on our website, then we can life cycle manage the document as we make changes. Because when we get that new software, we're obviously going to be adding, rental prices and things like that. We don't want to have to be going out and
thinking
finding it.
more so just the map for now, because there's not going to be very many changes to the map. I don't think very many people are going to start renting the
Now,
park.
the other side?
Yeah, no, the other side would be on there. Yeah, but that just tells you what's in the parks. So I would say every year that we would have to revisit that map and then just update it or whatever changes anyway. So then we update that it's found. Kind of interesting. It's kind of neat. Good conversation. I just said I would have to ask you.
So what's the decision? You can link, they could do a link?
Yeah, they can. Yeah, I just send them the files and then just put it on their website. Just be there. It'd be as part of the Franklin. It would go like for the restaurants, things to do in Franklin. You know, so send them to our parks and stuff like. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Opposed to it, as long as we keep.
Yeah, it's free. Everything is free. So.
Yep, so currently on the city's website, it's under Parks and Recreation. Click on it to look at it. Sure here, but They could link to whatever the city has posted, or you could share whatever the most.
Okay. I think the more that we get our stuff out there, kind of like this tennis lady, like she didn't know where all the parks were and stuff, and or the names of them or what we have at the parks. So this is kind of explaining all stuff at our parks. I don't think
to drive people to one source though. You're diluting the, like then what's the actual source of the information? Engage Franklin or Franklin.gov.
Yeah.
And I think with official records, you want to go to a source document that can more so link them to our page. I mean, we could have even told her that our minutes and agenda are posted on the Franklin website. We drive the audience to one location only. So once we post it, it's public information, right? So they can do whatever they want, but giving them like original files that can be manipulated, I wouldn't recommend that. Because then they'll have everything to appear like us, but not be us,
That's a good point.
Well,
Typically,
I can lock the files too.
but they should be able to do that just from this web page.
Typically, yeah, we share in PDF. Outside groups, they're actively designing.
But I agree, and I like that it's getting out. And you saw the collaboration right here tonight, right, with the
Right,
so.
right.
Yeah, and they had reviewed drafts of it as well, so.
Yeah. No, it's good. I'm glad that.
Okay.
To make doing this project to go to all the parks this summer a lot easier, right? Because that almost ties into that map.
Right, if they just put it on the back.
Yeah.
That's it'd be really small on the back.
Or they could put barcode.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks for doing that and representing us at that committee.
No, it was kind of fun actually.
We'll dive back into letter C, the 2024 budget, our request for personnel.
This is tied to the item about the software, so I have a meeting about it next week. And update about it.
Then we'll finish with our boys. Parks update.
Hey.
All right, generally in the parks, the grass cutting guys are trying to keep up with the grass going like crazy right now, so they're out running around like crazy. Everything is installed for summer, all the volleyball nets and the windscreen, the ball, that's all been put up, the dog bubbler. Several swings were replaced, just our playground inspection. We did some things like springs on the spring rockers. Pressure washing, we started that as needed. Once the crowds get out, stuff gets messed up, so washing needed. Baseball fields, we're trying to drag those as much as we can between rain days and trying to get that done. Those baseball fields are decent. Pavilion rentals have been increasing and much more. Like every spring, it seems like it will come out in full force and make a mess. Dan's been doing a good job on the weekends. Last week with that rainstorm, we had some washouts on the trails that we fixed. Some of the stone trails got washed out with the crazy downpour we had. Specifically at the parks, Franklin Woods, like I said, people are out in full force, super heavy traffic at Keo's Playground on this warm day. Restrooms, like every year, get messed up. Even this morning, had the police come out there because one wrecked on some toilet paper dispensers. I don't know if it was intentional vandalism or not. We have the same group of women that comes out in previous years and make a mess and won't clean it up. So figure out what groups that just have a spontaneous party and decide to leave. Also, Franklin Woods, we're getting ready for the floor. There's some algae, especially on the north side of the structures, that needs to be pressure washed off. It's kind of labor intensive. We're picking away at that when we can, try to get that done before the floor gets put in place. Vernon Park, pickleball courts are getting used a lot. And also Pleasant View. Pleasant View, nearly every morning there's a lot of people there. Parking lots full on that, especially on the south end, and there's a lot of people playing pickleball. One thing I got to note about Pleasant View is they want to bring all their chairs and stuff inside the fence, and I don't think it's a great idea because it's against the fence and there's not enough side court, and if someone runs off the court, they're going to run into a bunch of stuff. I mentioned it last year to a couple groups and really didn't listen, so I don't know what else to do, but they want to bring all their chairs and stuff inside. I don't know why. I don't know. Bad idea.
Is it something you can post a sign for safety reasons?
There's a sign there, and I can't remember what it says. So the fence installer put a sign on the fence, and I can't remember if it says that. But I could try doing that, but I don't know if it.
Like on the door when you enter? Doors.
Yeah, everybody's got a backpack or a duffel bag, and a lot of them have a chair, like a foldable chair, and they just all bring them, and they plop them down, and for other people coming to play, it seems kind of intimidating to me with all that stuff in there. Well, I don't know. Any suggestions? I guess I try.
How does it affect the surface? Like, could it scrape up the surface at all or damage it too, like a chair leg?
I guess it could. I never. It shouldn't. You never know on a 90-degree day when it's sunny or something. Who knows? That court, the fence was designed. It has a piece of concrete to the north of it. And last year we didn't have windscreen on that side, and we have picnic tables there, so you could sit on a picnic table and watch the play. But I think they want to be closer to it, so they're on the sidelines in their chairs. So I don't know what's happening. Another possible problem. At Legend, we added a stone path at the Historical Society from the schoolhouse to the barn. They do their field trips there in spring and sometimes in fall. They wanted an extra path at the schoolhouse to the barn so they could take the kids that way without getting muddy or walking in the grass. And it turned out real well, and they're real happy with it. On the playground at Legend, we flipped the playground at Legend, at Glen Meadows, and Jackworth, and are all getting real old. And what happens is the UV rays from the sun make the slides kind of hockey-like, and it actually developed a hole in one of the big slides at Legend. But we recognized that you could flip the slides upside down because they're reversible. So we flipped them upside down, and it's like a brand new slide now. There's the double slide, and they're nice and bright green now again, so it'll buy us some extra time there. So it worked out pretty good. And Kevin, you want to talk about the pickleball courts there? Is there any update on
hoping to pave last week, but did a proof roll and it failed.
A what?
A proof roll to, we brought a truck and we roll it to make sure it can hold up to the weight. It doesn't sink in, but it sunk in and it failed. So they had to dig out a section, relay the stone, but then we've had rain on and off, so we're waiting for it to dry out enough, and then we'll proof roll it again, and then hopefully get it paved. It has to sit about good for 4 weeks or so before they can split it.
Only striking.
No, they'll be doing it.
Oh, I thought Glenn said we were just, they weren't gonna paint them.
Included.
Oh.
Where did the washouts happen on trails?
There's several areas where you could install culverts and put some swales and stuff, but it's in the middle of like Franklin Woods. It was never done in the past, so Franklin Woods, there was probably 4 washouts on the road.
Did the standing water, because I noticed flooding in a couple of parks that
Pretty much dissipated. Yeah, it was a crazy downpour, and like a lot of the storm sewers that they couldn't handle the capacity. It dissipated. Took a lot of stone on the stone.
Excellent. Thank you. If nobody has anything else, I believe the next meeting would be June 10th. Yes, we need a motion to adjourn.
Move that we adjourn.
We have a second.
Second.
Awesome. We'll see everybody in June. Thank you.